She didn't get traded, she didn't take a break, she didn't fade quietly into rehab and wait for next season. Caitlin Clark left, and not in a cryptic maybe she's just stepping back kind way. No, this wasn't a team decision, this wasn't league announcement crafted by PR interns and glossed over with motivational fluff. If it was Caitlin saying it flat out, I didn't get bent, I wasn't sidelined, I left them, and with that single line sharp cutting clear, Caitlin Clark shatter whatever illusions were left about who's really running this league. Spoiler alert is not the front office. If you're here for the real story and not to filter version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. Let's call this what it is, a total unraveling, because when the rookie, the franchise savior, the future, the WNBA decides she's done, that's not a player decision, that a lead defining event. And if you're still pretending it's anything less than catastrophic, you're not paying attention. We all saw the signs, the overuse, the minutes, the brutal double teams, the cheap shots, the silence from the referees, the bruises, the broadcast, pretending like it was just the game being physical. But we knew this wasn't tough basketball, this was neglect. They handed Caitlin Clark the keys to the league, and then pushed her into the fire with no protection, and now they're shocked that she walked out. What's more shocking is how fast the WNBA went from we're growing to wait, where did everyone go? Because the second Caitlin made her exit, it was like pulling the plug on the league's life support. Ticket prices gone, merge sales flatline, TV ratings tanked, and don't let anyone fool you with fluffy phrases like market correction or mid-season dip. No, this was a collapse. One player steps away and the entire league sputters. That's not a dip, that's an expose dependency. Because let's be honest, his whole Caitlin Clark era, the lead touted it was a fantasy. He built on her back, every headline, every jersey sale, every brand deal, it all centered around one woman. And when she couldn't keep carrying it, the mirage dissolved. The thing is, it wasn't just a performance on the court, it was an aura, the icon status, the eyes she brought to the game. She was movement, and the league didn't treat her like one, they treated her like a marketing asset, with a jump shot, disposable, durable, marketable, until she wasn't, and now they're scrambling. Let's talk about what happened right after Clark's announcement. Within days, playoff ticket prices dropped 30%, in some cases more stadiums that were sold out for Clark appearances now of empty rows in every section. Teams are quietly downsizing arenas, primetime coverage gone, pulled, replaced by whatever sports drama gets better numbers at weak. Networks are pulling the plug. UGG sponsors are ghosting, and fans are furious, because this was never just about basketball. It was about believing that the league had finally made it, that women's basketball had crossed over, that we were watching history progress, and that the people in charge understood what they had, but they didn't. They had Caitlin Clark, and they treated her like clickbait, and now they're shocked that she said enough. But what did they expect? She gave everything. She ran the numbers, broke records, showed up, took the hits, sold out arenas, became the most recognizable rookie athlete in the country. Read, and what did you get in return? No protection, no backup, no league-wide protocol to keep players like her safe, just highlight reels and bruises. So when she said I left them, it wasn't a tantrum, it wasn't drama, it was truth, and it hit like a bomb, because Caitlin Clark didn't get abandoned by the system. She exposed it, she showed the cracks, the mismanagement, the fragility. She showed us that the WNBA rise wasn't built on a movement, it was built on a mirage. And when she walked away, the mirage disappeared. Let's talk about the fever for a second, because this team wasn't his Caitlin team, it was Caitlin that for the lead made it. They turned entire franchise into a one-woman show. The advertising, the camera angles, the post-game questions, everything was Clark-centric. And while the rest of the roster fought for footing, the spotlight never moved. Now it's gone. On in a fever, they're flailing. You can feel the tension. Teammate trying to stay professional, coaches trying to shift the narrative. We're building, we're evolving, we're more than one player, sure, but when not one player leaves and your seats are suddenly empty, the numbers tell the story. We're not building, you're panicking. And the league office, it's radio silence, no accountability, no change in officiating policy, no open forums, no apology, just whispers and damage control. Let's talk about that word for a second, control, because for a while it looked like the WNBA had it, that Caitlin Clark, they had the media, they had sponsors and frenzy. It looked like they are control the narrative. but actually had control Clark, because she was a narrative, and the second she stepped away their control vanished. So, now the question becomes, what happens next? Does LED double down on its current strategy, praying someone else rises to fill the void? Do they hope that fans overget them is handling and come back next season like nothing happened? Or do they finally wake up? Because this isn't just about losing Caitlyn, it's about losing credibility. You can't build a professional sports league on one player. You can follow all your growth, your audience, your entire brand into one athlete and expect her to withstand everything. She's not a machine. She's not a mascot. She's a human being who was forced to charity entirely before she even had a chance to learn his rhythm, and now she's out the most valuable athlete the league has ever had gone, not because she couldn't handle the spotlight, but because the spotlight never let her rest. So the league needs to decide right now urgently, either go and pretend this never happened, or they go to wait for another Clark to magically appear, or are they gonna rebuild? Probably this time rebuild a league with systems, not saviors. Rebuild a model that invests in teams, not just ticket draws. Rebuild a platform that doesn't burn through talent like as disposable, because if not the next Caitlyn Clark, we'll see what happened this season and think twice before ever stepping onto a WNBA court, and that would be the real loss. So what's your take? Dick Clark me the right call, kinda recover, or is this the beginning of a much bigger fallout? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more unfiltered cover to the stories the league wishes you'd ignore, and stay tuned, because this isn't just one player leaving a team, is the league's turning point. And whether they admit it or not, Caitlyn Clark didn't abandon the WNBA. She outgrew it. The WNBA is rumbling. Caitlyn Clark just didn't know the truth bomb. Season, an entire league is standing, and in a fallout blinking. I didn't just lose the one person who kept the lights on. Let's not sugarcoat. Is Caitlyn Clark didn't just leave a team. She didn't just walk out of locker room. She walked out a system that expected or to save it alone, with no protection, no support, and no backup plan. And now that she's gone, their scrambling sponsors are calling emergency meetings. Social media teams are quietly pairing from "she's our queen" to "let's talk about team chemistry." Lead executives are holding closed-door session, trying to spin this like it's not the biggest WNBA history, but the fans aren't buying it, because when Clark said "I left them," it wasn't as a statement, it was a reckoning. Let's unpack it, because it's not just about what she said, it's about why she said it. It wasn't petty, it wasn't emotional, it was surgical. She has a league, milk or for every and a hype, every cent a ticket revenue, every segment media airtime. And when the wear and tear it, when the bruise is piled up and the whistle stayed silent, no one stepped in, no one said maybe we should protect her, no one said let's slow it down before we break our biggest star. They just kept selling jerseys, selling seats, selling hope. And that's the most damning part of all this, the hope. Because at WNBA, and knew Caitlyn Clark was different. She wasn't just a good player, she was culture. She brought millions of eyes and never looked at the W before she filled arenas, ignited rivalries, got people talking. But league didn't see her as someone to build with, they saw her as someone to build around a foundation. No, she was more like the scaffolding, the thing holding up a whole operation. When they try to slap on some fresh paint and pretend fix the cracks, but scaffolding breaks. And when Caitlyn did, so did illusion. Let's talk about the fan for a second, because they knew from game one. They saw how often she was on ground, how often the contact crossed the line, how many times the ref swallowed their whistles while she got knocked sideways. They saw it, the world saw. In the league, they said nothing. Maybe they thought she'd push through. Maybe they thought she's tough, she'll be fine. Maybe they thought she wouldn't dare speak up because she was a rookie, the newcomer, the one who should be grateful. But Caitlyn Clark doesn't play the game, not anymore. She didn't wait for committee. She didn't wait for apologies. She made the call. And when she did, she said what so many players have want to say, but couldn't. I'm not broken, I'm done being used. Now let's zoom out, because this isn't just a fever problem, this is a lead problem. Every team was benefiting from Clark, even the ones playing against her. Every road game sold out, every ticket resell through the roof, every social media post mentioning her skyrocketing engagement. And now go look at the ticketing website, go look at the most watched games as week Go look at the WNBA subreddit that just 2 months ago was non-stop Clark buzz, and is now echoing with where do we go from here? That's the real issue. They didn't build anything to withstand her absence. Where's a rising star pipeline? Where's the league-wide storytelling? Where's the next year and marketing push? Where the other players getting spot? Because here's what happens when your whole business model is followed a superstar. When the superstar steps away, there's nothing left. Let's talk numbers. Because it's collapsed, its quantifiable ticket prices for the next layer fever games dropped to $15 in some cities lower. That's less than parking, less than a fast food combo meal from $200 a seat to just take them. That's not market fluctuation, that's fan abandonment. Merge sales, dead sponsors, nervous advertisers, pausing budgets until the league proves that has another Caitlyn in the pipeline, which, spoiler alert, it doesn't not, because the talent isn't there. It is Io Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina, and SQ elite athletes, incredible careers, but the league didn't push them with the same fire. They waited for Caitlyn to show up and save them, and now that she's gone, they've got no playbook. And let's not pretend this ends in Indiana. This isn't just about one franchise melting down. This is about the entire league waking up and realizing they weren't building something, they were chasing morality. And by reality is fickle, it doesn't last. It doesn't stay loyal. You don't know it the moment it senses weakness, it disappears, which is exactly what it's doing now. You got leagues blaming economy, the schedule, the intensity, competition. You got commentators doing mental gymnastics to avoid saying the truth. Without Caitlyn Clark, the WNBA is bleeding. And until they admit that they can't fix it, you want to know the Wild is part of this. Caitlyn wanna be the long-term answer. She didn't come in looking to start a fight, she came in one. Elevate the game, to shine light on women's basketball, to grow the sport. But when the league made her the entire structure, not just a part of it, she had to make a choice: either stay and be broken down slowly, or walk away and forced to lead, to finally face itself. She chose the latter. She walked. And in doing so, she exposed every flaw the league tried to plaster over with promo videos, hashtag campaigns, and now it's up to them to rebuild without her. So what happens next? Will Caitlyn Clark return? Maybe, if the league fixes a mess, if it becomes a place where of returning to, if it earns back to trusted so quickly threw away. But she's not waiting, she's already thinking globally, already fielding offer from European teams that know how to treat their stars gold, not like expendable ad revenue. And if she never comes back, she'll still be fine, she'll thrive. But the WNBA, that's a different story, because the next time they get a player with Clark's impact, the first questions you're going to ask is, what did you do to protect the last one? And if the answer is nothing, she'll walk to. So here we are, the league has a choice: reckon with the truth or repeat the mistake. But one thing for sure, Caitlyn Clark didn't get pushed out, she and get sidelined. She wasn't run off. She looked around, took a breath, and said, no, I left. And now the WNBA has to live with what that really means. Caitlyn Clark walked away, not stumbled, not limped, not faded. She walked with her head up, her legacy intact. And one final message burned in the ground like a signature in wildfire: no, I left them. Let's sit with that for a second, because there's a reason that one line is still echoing across the internet, rattling league offices and sending media outlets into a frenzy. It's not just as she left, is that she owned it, and that scares the hell out of them, because when a player as powerful as Caitlyn Clark stopped playing defense, not on court, in the press, in the boardroom, in our own story, that's not quitting, that's liberation. And now, with her gone, the people who wants to behind what makes and promo graphics are pretending he was never that important. Begin with, the league is bigger than one player. Caitlyn needed time. This is a team sport. Spare me. The same league build his entire revenue spike, media strategy, and marketing identity around one rookie is now acting like she was just another name on a roster. That's not just revisionist history, that's cowardice. You don't get to prop someone up like a golden statue and then pretend she was a lawn ornament when she decides walk out, go garden, because Clark didn't leave because she was tired. She left because she was done being lied to. They told her this league would be different, that she'd be part of history, that she'd be protected. And when hits started coming, the league handed her an ice pack and said be tough she was until being tough became a very thing breaking her, so she chose herself. And here's the part that really shakes the WNBA to its core. Fans agree with her. This isn't just about injuries or stat or what team she's on. This is about trust, and the fans, they trusted the league to protect her. They showed up in record numbers. They pay $200 plus for nosebleeds. Just watch Caitlin warm up. They bought the jerseys, the posters, the TikTok compilations. They believed, and now they're watching empty seats grow like mold and once packed arenas. They're seeing playoff games with the energy of a Tuesday night bowling league. They're watching the league dump the hard questions, and they're done pretending everything's fine, because without Caitlin, it's not. Let's talk about the optics for a second, because optics are everything in sports, and right now the optics are an absolute disaster. You got fans posting screenshots of hundreds of empty seats. You get tickets for playoff games going for the costs of a fast food combo meal. You got sponsors hitting pause, networks pulling double coverage from primetime slot, and endless openly asking, is this league built to last? That's not a slump, that's a reality check. And the league try to spin it. They can push their next woman up and narrative spotlight other players, run all the this league campaigns they want, but the silence is louder than the slogans. You all know how fragile your system is. Take away one player and watch the whole thing collapse like a sandcastle in a storm. And the craziest part, they saw this coming the minute the league saw the numbers, the spike, the hysteria. They should gone into overdrive, protect their star, more rest, better officiating, tighter fouls, private security, first-class travel, a bubble detection so thick no one could even breathe on her without consequences. But instead, she got shoved, she got hit, she got booed, and cities profited off her presence. She got targeted, and every time she fell, the league looked the other way, until finally she stood up one last time and said that's enough. Not in an emotional press conference, not with a sob story. She didn't beg, she didn't plead, she didn't lash out. She chose, and that more than anything is what makes this moment feel historic. Because how many times have we seen it play out the other way? Women in sports being told to sit down, don't play through the pain, be grateful, smile more, take it. But Caitlin Clark, she flipped the script, and get pushed out of the league. She rejected it. She looked at what the WNBA had to offer, and she said, this isn't enough for me. And now the league is left standing in ruins of his own overconfidence, staring down an off-season for hard questions and uncomfortable truth. What do they do now? Because make no mistake, this wasn't a bad season. This wasn't rookie burnout. This was a statement. And the next star who comes along, the next generation player who draws in crowd and headlines. Sure, I've watched the saga play out in real time. She'll remember how Caitlin Clark was treated. She'll remember how they ignored her safety until it was too late, and show, or as yourself, isn't even worth it. That's what the WNBA has to reckon with now. The fact that their biggest star and retire, she didn't get caught cheating, get injured, and vanish. She quit on purpose. Because you realize her worth. She realized she wasn't as part of the system. She was a system, and the second she stepped away, lapse without her. So what happens next? Will she go overseas? Probably. And when she does, she'll be adored, protected, celebrated, paid. She'll get treated like a generational athlete. She is not like a temporary marketing tool, and maybe after for a few months to watch her up in his damn ball or Paris or Milan, the WNBA will finally understand what they had. Or maybe it'll be too late, because longer the silence stretches, the more the fans start to believe this league never deserved her in the first place. And that's the most heartbreaking part. She wanted to grow the game show, wanted to stay. She won't be the face of a league finally breaking into the mainstream. But when the weight got too heavy, she realized it wasn't her job to carry it all alone. So yeah, she didn't disappear. She didn't flinch, shooting, get lost in the pressure. She left on her terms with her dignity.